And it was billed as a women's retreat weekend where you'll meet other women and have so many activities and drink by the pool and spend time with the Duchess of Sussex. Well, turns out she showed up for about 30 minutes and then she split immediately. They were then shacked up with strangers. They paid thousands of dollars for this dumb thing. And needless to say, a lot of them are now furious. So much so that they're demanding refunds.
What happened here, that the girl was drawing and Meghan was fiddling with her jewelry, merching her stuff and whatnot, and the girl put the book away from Meghan. No, you're not gonna touch my book, you're not gonna touch my drawings, get away, you witch. Yeah. We have this video comparison between 2018 and 2026, and here you can see the big difference between the two. You have actual crowds, you had actual expectation, people. There was a lot of energy back then that is undeniable compared to what is this? Yeah, it is sad.
Australia may have delivered the most telling response of all, and it's not looking good. A recent Roy Morgan poll conducted with around 1,700 Australians has revealed numbers that are quietly but seriously damaging. Despite the high-profile nature of the tour, a massive 81% of respondents said their opinion of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle did not improve at all. Even more striking, 75% believed that Meghan failed to present a more positive or relatable side of herself during the visit. And perhaps the most concerning figure of all, 87% of those surveyed said they do not believe this trip will do anything to repair Harry's already strained relationship with his father, King Charles III. Taken together, these numbers paint a very clear picture. Instead of rebuilding public trust or improving perceptions, the tour may have only reinforced existing doubts.
The reason why it went down well in 2018, Paul, is because the Australian public didn't know Meghan Markle very well. Well, they know her now. And what do they know her to be? A gold-digging grifter.
I love you.
That isn't backlash, because backlash is loud, emotional, and impossible to ignore. Backlash shows up as protests, headlines, and public outrage. What Australia delivered, however, feels very different and far more dangerous, especially for a public image built on warmth, popularity, and connection. It wasn't anger, it wasn't noise, it was something quieter, a measured, almost polite form of distance, the kind of response where people aren't reacting strongly anymore. They're simply disengaging. And in many ways, that kind of silence can be more damaging than criticism itself because it suggests not frustration, but a gradual loss of interest and trust.
They think somehow that Australians are a little naive, a little easy to skin as far as flogging her as ever merchandise. I think she thinks we're, hicks down under that won't see through it all and be just so honoured that she's graced us with her spreads.
And by the end of the 4-day tour, the picture had become even clearer. Every key metric seemed to confirm the same quiet reaction. Indifference. The retreat failed to sell out, signaling a lack of real excitement or demand. The Intourage Summit even went as far as slashing ticket prices by half before Prince Harry stepped on stage, an unusual move that hinted at struggling interest. Meanwhile, Meghan Markle's event in Sydney also faced difficulties, drawing a strong crowd, and what made the contrast even more striking was what was happening across the city at the very same time. On the other side of Sydney, Pamela Anderson was hosting her own event at a venue that had already been downsized from 9,000 seats to 2,500, yet still managed to hold attention. Same weekend, same city, similar audience, but two completely different levels of demand. And that contrast says more than any headline ever could.
You know what? Anyone silly enough to pay this sort of money, I have zero sympathy for. So whatever.
You've stolen my thunder. Exactly my thoughts. If you are stupid enough to have bought a ticket to sit with that woman for whatever length of time, then suck it up, princess.
Everything you're about to hear is already on record. The polling data, ticket sales, media reports, and even behind-the-scenes details that quietly surfaced online. None of this is speculation. The facts belong to Australia, but the interpretation is where things become more revealing. Because while criticism can often be dismissed, whether it's a petition, a tabloid headline, or even a harsh editorial, hard data is much harder to ignore. A polling sample of 1,700 people declining ticket sales or last-minute promotional efforts don't rely on opinion. They reflect real-world response. And when those data points begin to align, they start forming a pattern that is difficult to dismiss. By the time the retreat event approached, signs of struggle were already visible. Reports suggested that organizers were still attempting to boost attendance at the very last moment, even reaching out through direct messages in an effort to fill remaining spots. The expectation had been a sold-out experience, marketed as a full, engaging weekend. But what unfolded appeared to fall short of that promise. Attendance reportedly didn't match projections, and while exact numbers remained debated, the perception of a smaller-than-expected turnout quickly took hold. And in events like these, perception often becomes reality. The retreat itself had been positioned as a premium experience, with tickets priced at a level that suggested exclusivity and high value. Attendees expected a full schedule, activities, engagement, and meaningful interaction. Instead, reports indicate that the centerpiece moment was limited to a relatively short appearance by Meghan Markle, leaving some guests uncertain about what they had actually received in return. While official statements maintained that expectations were always clear, the contrast between marketing and experience became a key talking point. At the same time, public reactions began surfacing from different directions. Some attendees reportedly expressed confusion, others disappointment. Though it's important to note that much of this feedback remains indirect or anonymous. No large-scale public complaints dominated headlines, but that in itself is part of the story. Instead of loud outrage, what emerged was something quieter, a sense that expectations and outcomes simply didn't align. And that kind of response, while less dramatic, can often have a longer-lasting impact. Meanwhile, the broader tour faced its own challenges. Events struggled to generate the level of attention that might once have been expected, and moments that were intended to highlight connection sometimes led to unexpected controversy. One such moment involved a public appearance that was later linked through online platforms to fashion promotion, raising questions about timing and perception. The situation quickly drew criticism from commentators and media outlets, with some suggesting that the overlap between public engagement and commercial activity felt inappropriate. Whether intentional or not, the optics became difficult to manage. Behind the scenes, adjustments were made, content was edited, messaging refined, and explanations offered, including references to technical or platform-related issues. But in situations like this,